I know. Trust me, Wendy. Trust me. I wish it didn't happen.
Okay.
Well, I think it was a moment where I should have thought more through the situation, made better judgments, you know? So it's something that I apologize for. What happened was there was a statement that was released. I did not put out that statement. I was actually on the airplane, and I was back from Europe.
They were in Italy at a film festival.
Yes.
And allegedly...
But I was out there for business.
Okay.
There was some designers out there as well, so I was dealing with that.
Okay.
There was familiar faces out there, and it happened.
Where did this happen?
I was in Italy.
No, I mean, where did that happen right there? Because you all look like you just woke up in the morning.
No, we did not.
The body looks
First of all,
phenomenal.
I was at the pool.
Okay.
We're on a different time zone. I was having a hard time staying awake. I was drinking an espresso. That's it.
Okay, and you leaned in.
Yeah. It was a moment that should not have happened. I regret it, and I apologize for it. And I'm a human being. It was a mistake.
LisaRaye and Nicole Murphy used to be the kind of friends who showed up for each other, laughing on red carpets, sitting front row at fashion shows, sharing glasses of wine at private dinners like sisters. LisaRaye trusted Nicole, not just as a friend but like family. So much so, she invited her to her wedding. Nicole didn't just show up in a seat. She clapped, smiled, posed for photos, and stood inches away from LisaRaye as she married Michael Missick, the then Prime Minister of Turks and Caicos. It was supposed to be a fairy tale. LisaRaye thought she had everything: love, power, respect. But little did she know, years later, Nicole would be the one ripping that fairy tale apart from the inside. Behind the scenes, Nicole was allegedly getting too close to Michael. Whispered conversations, private smiles, moments that felt off, but LisaRaye pushed the doubts away, because who would suspect their own friend? It wasn't just a rumor. Nicole, the same woman who toasted to their marriage, was the one allegedly meeting LisaRaye's husband in secret. And as the whispers turned into receipts, everything LisaRaye once believed about her marriage and her so-called friend started to collapse. The betrayal didn't come from a stranger. It came from someone who had once stood beside her in love, only to stand behind her in deceit. What made this betrayal even worse wasn't just what Nicole did, but what she said about it later. Nicole didn't shrink back from the scandal. In fact, she seemed to enjoy the attention. People close to her say she was overheard laughing about the...
I was hearing from my sources that she had called the paparazzi to take the pictures of her.
That's what I thought anyway.
And that this is not the first time she's done it. And that the reason why she's doing it is because she, in fact, actually does want to be with him.
Of course.
And she, in fact, if they're kissing like that, you know they f***ing.
What are the odds that these two black people would be in Italy
Right.
and run into each other if they did not leave America to go to Italy together?
And what are the odds that paparazzi does not checking for either one of them is going to find them in some remote place in Italy to take pictures?
The foreign paparazzi, hey, isn't that this director who we don't ever see and Nicole Murphy who we don't ever see?
Right.
Oh yeah, let's take their picture right now while they're kissing.
Exactly. And let them kiss multiple times to make sure that the paparazzi gets it.
Throughout the day.
Throughout
2
the day.
days. In the robes.
Right.
In the swimwear.
In your robes.
And they're just waiting for y'all.
So that's what I was hearing, and that's what I didn't report because I was trying to be like, that's my girl. And in Love Muffins, if you don't believe that, go back to a couple of podcasts ago, or maybe more than a couple, like 8 podcasts ago, when I was talking about this, you were going in on her.
I was.
And I was pumping the brakes.
You were.
I was like, no, you know, I was doing that. You know, I was just, you know, I'm just reaching for everything, trying to not.
I'm like, that hussy.
Yeah, not to really expose her for being the lying scallywag that she is.
What I call her, a Jezebel.
She's a Jezebel, but she's a scallywag.
And the whole situation, casually brushing it off like it was no big deal. At a Hollywood party not long ago, someone claimed they caught her on video saying things like, "I always get what I want, and if it wasn't me, it would have been someone else." And that wasn't the only moment that had fans
The thing is this, when you're a woman and you grown, let's handle it like a woman. Let's talk face to face and let's get it out. But here's the thing. I sat with her a couple of months ago, longer than a couple of months ago, about 6 months ago. And
This was after the alleged affair?
Before.
Okay.
And I said, let's talk about it, because I waited a very long time for you and I to get like this right here, face to face, you know?
Okay.
And
No, she's talking about Nicole, not me.
right.
Relax.
And we had a good conversation because she said to me, you know what? We're two older women that look good that's in the business. I hate this. And I do too, because I hate when we can't bridge the gap between women. You know, we should not be in that position. Right. I will say this.
Shaking their heads. Nicole later posted a picture on social media wearing designer heels and a tight dress, with the caption, "Unbothered. I always win." No names, no tags, but people knew exactly who it was aimed at. The timing wasn't a coincidence. It felt like a slap in the face to LisaRaye, who had stayed silent for months. People were stunned that Nicole wasn't just unapologetic, she was smug. It didn't seem like she was trying to clear the air or fix the damage. Felt like she was enjoying it, as if hurting her friend and taking her man was just another power move in a long list of conquests. And as fans watched this unfold, many couldn't believe Nicole had the nerve to treat LisaRaye's pain like it was a joke. LisaRaye didn't stay quiet for long. After seeing how Nicole carried herself like nothing had happened, LisaRaye decided to speak up. And when she did, she didn't hold anything back.
On her.
To that, Nicole Murphy had relations with your ex-husband. Were you two friends?
Birthday parties. I've been to her house. She was at my bachelorette party. But you know what? At that time, my mother told me then. She said, you know, but you got to watch that one then. And I was like, who? I said, the one dancing. She said, yes, that's Eddie Murphy's wife. She said, you got to watch that one.
Current wife at the time or ex at the time?
I want to say, I think she was still married. They were still married. And I was like, no, you know. And so, you know, when your mom tell you something about new school, you feel like you old school, you know. And she was right.
How did you find that out?
I had checked the manifest of my plane, because we owned a plane. And so when you check that list, it says all the people that have rode on the plane. And she didn't ride on it with me. And nor did she receive an invitation from me. So if you had a girlfriend that has her own island, I would think that you would call and say, hey girl, I'm coming, because I was getting everybody to come. So why you would accept an invitation from him and you don't even know him is unbeknownst to me. I don't know how that could happen. Do you? I guess not.
I never owned a private plane or
not that part.
I don't know, but you know, meaning, yes, this is too rich for me. You know, the manifest of the list, like, damn. So you saw her name on the list.
And I tried to call her. And, you know, at first she said, no, I haven't been to Turks and Caicos. I have not been. And it was like, well, wait a minute, you know. And then I called again, and then she stopped answering the phone. So at the time she was dating, at this time,
Michael
when
Strahan?
I found out, she was dating Michael Strahan. So I called him. And I said, hey, do you know anything about this? And, you know, we talked or whatever. And I said, well, you know, let me send you a tape that I have of proof, you know. And so I did.
What tape? What was on the tape?
You know, it was a tape of her and Michael when she was dropping Michael off at the private airport in her car. And they opened the gate and they pulled up to the plane, and she gets out and he gets out, and I go, oh, I didn't know y'all knew each other. And I'm gonna leave it right there, because that part is my business. The other part is someone else's business, which I've never, you know, would speak on. But for me, that was enough. It was like, wow, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Friends don't do that now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I would think an enemy would do, or somebody that I just don't know. But someone that you have to watch your girl. Where I come from, south side of Chicago, that's an ass whooping. That's an ass whooping. Period.
LisaRaye sent the proof to Nicole's then boyfriend, Michael Strahan, and I'm guessing that was enough for Michael and Nicole to call up their engagement and go their separate ways. But Nicole doesn't have any intentions of apologizing to LisaRaye the way she did with Layla. Word on the streets is that she is pissed that LisaRaye is still bringing up something that happened more than 15 years ago.
One interview, her voice cracked as she called Nicole a snake, who smiled in her face while sneaking behind her back. She said the betrayal wasn't just about a man. It was about friendship, trust, and the pain of realizing someone you called a sister was laughing at your downfall. LisaRaye made it clear that Nicole didn't just cheat with any man. She got involved with LisaRaye's husband, the man she married, the man she moved across the world for. And Nicole had been at that wedding, smiling and clapping like she was happy for them. LisaRaye said she wasn't surprised by other women being with Michael. She knew he had flaws, but Nicole's betrayal hit the hardest because she was supposed to be different.
That's true, absolutely true.
So what happened exactly?
Just what you said. She messed around with my husband. Here's the thing. We've all done something that we regret. We've all made mistakes and we all have to learn from that. But when you start doing it and being messy enough to do it amongst family, how does a family kiss turn into a I'm sorry apology? Like, what do you mean? You didn't know that she was married? We all know that she was married. And that was 20 years. That's history. You don't do that amongst friends.
Right.
Because there's no loyalty.
Right.
There's no loyalty, and you got to look up, and your person that you invited to your house and you celebrating your birthdays and going to games with, you got to look up and they're in Italy with your husband.
Right.
Nicole have reportedly been close friends for years, and they travel in the same circle.
And my thing is this, plus, you know, you're not talking about it all the time. That's that friendship stuff.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Well, yo, but listen, the whole internet's on fire about it. Even your sister, the brat, LisaRaye McCoy, jumped in social media and said, "Girl, Nicole Murphy, you went after Lela Rashawn's husband too?" Shaking my head so wrong again.
Ooh, wait, hold on.
So what's the fine print of the tea? Like, did she go after LisaRaye's husband when she was married to
Absolutely.
the...
When my sister was the first lady of Turks and Caicos, absolutely. What?
She was supposed to be family. LisaRaye didn't tell her story for fame or pity. She said she did it because she was tired of people acting like Nicole was innocent. Tired of watching Nicole post photos and act empowered, while never once owning what she did. LisaRaye's voice may have stayed calm, but you could feel the pain in every word.
It may be social media. No. Social media took on a mountain of its own. And like I said, listen, it said I broke up somebody's marriage, which is absolutely false. I never did that. There was a statement released by that ex-husband saying it's false. And no,
you're talking about when LisaRaye got involved and said you slept with her.
Yes, and it's not true.
No, she talked real breezy on social media.
I know, it's not true. First of all, her husband released a statement.
That's
saying
Keiko's king.
Yes, saying it's not true.
Yeah, I saw that.
Nobody focused on that issue. No one, they just focused on
bed with Roxy, so.
LisaRaye wasn't the only one speaking out. Her sister, Debrat, made it very clear where she stood. She didn't hesitate to defend her big sister and confirmed that everything LisaRaye said about Nicole was true. In interviews and social media posts, Debrat didn't show
to that Nicole Murphy had relations with your ex-husband. Were you two friends?
Birthday parties. I've been to her house. She was at my bachelorette party. But you know what? At that time, my mother told me then. She said, but you got to watch that one then. And I was like, who? I said, the one dancing. She said, yes, that's Eddie Murphy's wife. She said, you got to watch that one.
Current wife at the time or ex at the time?
I want to say, I think she was still married. They were still married. And I was like, no, And so, when your mom tell you something about new school, you feel like you old school, And she was right.